It's been a wonderful couple days. It's been a great month. I have seen so much, heard so much, spoken to many, and long form, and maybe this will get quite long. I'm going to try to do my best to make it as short as possible. I'm going to jump it all over the place. I'm going to make it as confusing as possible, but at the same time as direct and as clear as possible. I'm hoping to work some magic here. Bear with me. I don't remember where I heard this from, where I got it from. I remember some guy on a video talking about this. I remember the voice. I don't remember specifically what, he said. It went something like this. In times of war, especially when war was nothing but swords and shields and bows and arrows and armor and all that, you know, uh, and though it's kind of romanticized in a way, I'm not gonna do that. I would just want to say what it is. I don't know if this is true. It just seems very logical to me. When a huge army was about to lay siege on a town, castle, or whatever, what they would do is always leave a area of land or a part of the area where whatever they're going to lay siege on, whoever, had a means by which they can escape. The reason for that was if the people within those walls or within this town or whatever felt like there was no way out, they could not escape, and they knew that, doom was imminent, oblivion was at hand, they would do all that they can to destroy and render the area that they're in as unusable or as difficult to live in for the people that are laying siege on them as possible. Whatever dead that they had, they would hack them up, toss their bodies and things, or bury their pieces. They would toss, some pieces in the wells and whatever. They would take all the hay and all the stuff that they had all over the areas in the crops, and they would burn everything to the ground. And what that would do is it would poison the water. It would render the areas where the crops were there to be acidic, and you couldn't use it anymore. They would burn down the houses and kill everyone. They had no way out. They were not allowed a way out. Because for the ones laying siege, it was they're evil, they're the enemy, and add whatever else in there that you want to. Damn it. I might have actually mentioned this somewhere else. I don't know. This comes up again and again. Way back, and this is not as much as, swords and shields and whatever. It's more like, sorry for the noise if you can hear that. It's an active night tonight, it appears. You have companies, you'd have parents, you'd have communities that would raise their sons and daughters a certain way. Of course, hence the title. Um, they wanted the best for their children. During those times, you had groups of people, and it is something that happened to me in the last day or two. Because sometimes I get really bored and I go down on the YouTube videos and I think to myself, man, I've seen all of these, nothing is coming up. And I don't want to subscribe to like, 100 different channels so that I always have stuff constantly. In fact, I'm trying to get away from YouTube as much as possible. despite me recording on it. Ironic is that. Besides the point, we created this idea for our children, and who would have known what it would come of today? And once again, during those times, you had people that were saying, "This is terrible. We should not do this. We don't want our daughters to be this way. We don't want our sons to be this way. It's terrible for them." But because of policy, because of politics, social pressure, people want to live by their own ideals. And that's fine. I believe in individuality, I do. But there are certain things I believe that we do not or we should not mess with. So we created these beings. And when I say these beings, I mean we romanticized and we idealized ideas. We created princes and princesses. We created dragons, magical dragons, magical princesses, like magical princes who had abilities beyond that of what's humanly capable. It's almost like when we could not find, a god or gods, we created them ourselves. And human beings did it in such a way that they created something that was reachable, not knowing that they were poisoning themselves as they tried to reach it. In fact, this is one of the terms that we use in society when we say that certain groups are toxic. We say that they poison the well. Something good is happening, and because they're not happy with this good thing, because it affects them negatively, they should, technically speaking, accept it because it helps a lot more than it does bad. Or that group of people is only the tiny fraction of people of whatever group, and they're only the 3% or they're only the 5%, and then they have no way to go, so they poison the well because fuck you guys. All we wanted was to be allowed to live the way that we want to, but you forced us to stay here and die on this altar, so we're gonna smear the altar in blood. We're going to curse it. And as you wanted this land, or you wanted this area, or you needed to drink from this well, you will drink from it and you shall be poisoned, or you shall be cursed yourself. You want to come on this altar, sit on it, make it your own, whatever the case may be. I look at these videos on YouTube, and they are posted by a specific group of people. These people take videos or archives, and that's part of how you know how far back it goes, because these are not black and white videos sometimes. These are just flipping through pages of a certain book, or through pieces of written articles on the newspaper that say, this is what this group of people were saying back then. And as it turns out, they might have had a point. And even back then, they were seen as, this terrible group of people that everybody should shun and you shouldn't be friends with. Today I look at it, and I'm sure that back then I wouldn't have understood it. I like to think I do today. Not going to, or I'm going to try very hard not to point to any specific direction, but right now, there's a group of people that are doing exactly that. They're poisoning the well. They're cursing the land. We created princesses, we created princes, gods, and now they're creating their princesses, their princes, their gods, their cursed world that they will die in, but the next generation would have to live with. It's very easy to point fingers at others and say they were these terrible, toxic people that were against progress. They were against our ideas, against our freedom, against our rights. They should be destroyed, killed. They're they're fucking what's the word they that sometimes they're draconian. They want to live in whatever other era or decade, while simultaneously today in the whole, I guess you could say vastness of this plane that you can see, as far as the eye can see, you look at these princesses, princes, gods that everybody wants to be today, that don't exist, that they aspire to, that they want to be, not knowing that they did not leave a space so that the rest of them can live peacefully with them. You see certain groups of people as being cancerous, toxic, a disease, words that we use. But here's what I see happening. And I think this is going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to come fast. I can't say how fast, but I just see it as being exponential. The more that it stays, the faster it gets. It's just gaining speed. I got a little bit choked up there. I want to laugh, I want to cry. I have mixed feelings, and I'm trying to be careful with my words. I'll say this though. Me, and I mean circus, me, I want a lot of this stuff to happen. I'm not too happy with the well being poisoned. I'm not too happy with the fields being burned, as per the analogy. But damn it, if I can't applaud the humanity by which those that have no other choice are doing what they can. The harsh reality is, and this is part of why it makes me sad, a lot of people are going to fall. A lot of people are going to suffer. And that's an easy thing to say because, people suffer every day. Millions of people suffer every day. But to see people suffer amongst those that should not be suffering at all, I think that's a problem. While in the same breath, that same group of people just have those very few who prosper and they get everything they want and they live easily without effort. And I don't want you guys to believe that I'm talking about people who are rich. No. Sure, a lot of people who are rich get those benefits, but that's just the money talking. I'm talking stuff in the realms that whether or not you have money, you still prosper. You still do everything without effort because you see everything and you know where you're at. And that's the part that makes me happy. I know that I can't control all the suffering in the world. I know that I can't save anybody. Everybody has to save themselves. I can help out where I can. It doesn't mean I have to. I go where I wish, I do what I want. The law may stop me, the law may not. What's the saying? It's only a crime when you get caught. And the more and more people believe that, or they start to see how it, though it's not true, you still committed a crime, but the idea of it, they start to practice it. And they start to be able to move in ways that others cannot. They start to be able to exercise things that others would never dare to. I don't think this is the type of stuff that we really wanted when we created our princesses. It's funny in the media how, I mean, this has always been a thing, but I see it a lot more now. And I know that this is the type of stuff that used to happen before because, it's not so much history repeats itself. I think it's just functions of our humanity. History repeats itself to me is just a cop out. It's not history repeats itself, I'll say it again. It's just functions of our humanity. And what I'm seeing is in media, in art, in music, our villains are becoming our heroes. Our downtrodden and deprived, are depressed, are becoming our heroes. Those that fought dragons, they risked life and limb across deserts or jungles. In the more modern ways, they fought in wars. They did all this stuff. They are our villains now, and these mythological creatures, these these dragons, these demons, beasts, these people who are seen as gods, and gods, you know damn, it's kind of like I'm trying so hard not to use specific examples in this one because I'm like, oh, of course, the way that you speak, you would see these particular things, but the people that we look up to as gods, and oftentimes the things that they do, it's funny how if it was anybody that was not those people, they would be really, really toxic. They'd be manipulative, they'd be narcissistic, all these terrible things that people point to as to not being, while simultaneously they worship exactly that. The only thing that makes someone capable of doing that or not is apparently how popular they are, not just how much money they have. The money is like the lubricant, makes it easier. Popularity is the people behind it. That's the crazy part. You can do whatever and terrible things, and they'll defend you because to them, you're their hero. You can do no wrong. To the princess and princesses out there, You may never see this video, or maybe you just did. I support your toxicity. I can recognize that you had no other choice. And though you may bask in it, though you may benefit greatly from it, as the alternative was your own suffering, whether I agree with you or not, whether I like you or not, that is beyond me.